Okay, hi there, and welcome to a video looking at building chains of reasoning to get A-star analysis marks in 2019. This question is going to focus on macroeconomics, and it's to do with the African Free Trade Agreement and the link with economic growth. So the African Continental Free Trade Area is now largely ratified. Nigeria and South Africa and Botswana are three countries that haven't chosen to join it yet, but in theory it's something that could change the economic landscape significantly for the African continent. The aim, of course, is to promote trade and investment, and ultimately to create a customs union and then a single market covering large parts of Africa, bringing together what are often interconnected, overlapping trade blocs. So the question that might be asked is examine how a free trade area might stimulate economic growth. The reason we're going through this video with you is that the examiners are saying in exam reports constantly that they're looking for students to develop a chain of reasoning in their essays. That's the way to get to high-level analysis marks. And once you've done that, the evaluation clearly flows more easily. Let me just take you through one possible paragraph for this. You might be, for example, you might want to build two distinct points of analysis to get your top marks. Haven't got time in this video to do that. I'll just take you through one suggested paragraph and then throw in some evaluation points at the end. So chain of reasoning is where you build an answer. So the free trade agreement can, in theory, lead to faster growth because it encourages nations and businesses to specialize and then trade on the basis of their developed comparative advantage. Throw in some concepts early in the paragraph: specialization and Ricardian comparative advantage. The absence of import tariffs and other barriers reduces the costs of trading goods and services across borders. Kenya may now trade more with Ethiopia, for example. This is known as intra-regional trade within a continent or a region, and is low within Sub-Saharan Africa. As a result, now this is the as a result that is in red, bold. This is a connective phrase that helps to develop your chain of reasoning. As a result, the prices of traded goods and services are likely to fall, since trade stimulates increased competition and then can therefore cause improvements in labour productivity and helps businesses to achieve internal economies of scale. So in that sentence, you've got price, competition, productivity, economies of scale. This is a detailed analysis chain of reasoning. This leads to another connective phrase. This leads to an increase in the real incomes of consumers, which means that they can then afford to increase demand and consumption. Lower prices are a welfare gain for consumers. Economists call this trade creation. A likely effect of this, continuing to build our chain of analysis, is to stimulate increased output, production, which will then lead to an increase in the demand for labour, which is a derived demand, and also capital investment. For example, countries may need better trade infrastructure, new ports, better roads, rail, for example. This means that, again, a connective phrase, that free trade agreement could cause a rise in capital spending, which will then cause an outward shift of long-run aggregate supply. In this way, countries involved may see an increase in their potential growth rate. Well, hopefully you can see that we've started in green. A free trade agreement can in theory lead to faster growth. We finish with a reference to increasing the trend growth rate. In between, we have 4, 5, possibly 6 little links in the chain. You're building a series of connectives to build a chunky paragraph. I can tell you this: if you have this kind of paragraph in your exam, the analysis diagram that flows from it is perfect. Trade liberalisation diagram is showing the effect of taking off a tariff. And once you've built really good analysis of this type, here's the chunky paragraph, if I put those together. Once you've built analysis of this quality, the evaluation will flow so much more easily. You can straight away challenge an assumption, look at it from a perspective of one country compared to another, consider the extent to which there might be offsetting costs as well as benefits. The evaluation flows so much more easily. And of course the word examine means you have to evaluate. This word examine, let me just put it in different colour there for you. Put it in yellow just to recognise that. This word examine means you have to evaluate. So whilst the first section might focus on the welfare gains, the growth enhancing aspects, lower prices, economies of scale, increased competition, improved allocative efficiency, the examine bit gives you the chance to challenge the view. What about the lost tariff revenues? What about the cost of funding the infrastructure? How are you going to bring together regulatory reforms for common product standards? What about the impact of increased trade on local small and medium-sized enterprises who might suffer losses of jobs and things if they face stronger competition? The evaluation flows from good chains of reasoning. And my strong advice, by the way, in the days ahead of an exam is to get some questions, maybe get your teachers to set some questions, and just practice writing paragraphs of analysis, paragraphs of evaluation of this kind of length, 8-10 lines maybe, chunking, linking together, and then practice your evaluation. That is far and away the best way to get your A or A star. Thank you very much for joining in this video.